Oh, beautiful, for heroes proved in liberating strife. Who more than self their country loved, and mercy more than life. America, America, may God thy gold refine,
What being an American means to me is being part of something bigger and greater than yourself. Doing things that have never been done before and doing it well. Never before have so many cultures come together in relative peace and embraced it. Throughout history, there have been men and women who have taken this idea of all have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and made it their life duty to preserve that very fact. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. These words are straight from the founding document of our nation. The Declaration of Independence was signed on July 4th, 1776, by a group of men who stood for everything American. That we should not stand for injustice or tyranny. This document was the beginning of something new, where all men and women were given equal chances, equal opportunities, that anyone could be anything they wanted. Man's greatness consists in his ability to do, and the proper application of his powers to do things that needed to be done. Words from a man who embodied the American dream itself. He was born a slave, but escaped after his third attempt, and became one of the most famous reformers in American history. He published several books, including his autobiography about his experience as a slave. He also started producing his own newspaper named the North Star. The paper was devoted to the anti-slavery movement and inspired many Americans to fight alongside him to abolish slavery altogether. To do this, Douglass believed that education was the key, and that education would provide African Americans with better lives and a chance to be free. After the Civil War, he was elected to several political positions. He even became the first African American to be nominated for the Vice President of the United States. Frederick Douglass died on February 20th, 1895, as a man who truly shaped the America we know today. Government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. A statement from possibly one of the most famous Americans of all time, Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln took office in an extremely shaky time in America's history, with the South on the verge of seceding from the Union. Lincoln from the beginning was clearly opposed to everything about slavery. He saw it as an embarrassment to our great nation. A little over a month after Lincoln's inaugural address, the first act of the Civil War was committed, an attack against Fort Sumter. It started what was a huge turning point in our nation. Lincoln stood strong in his opposition of slavery by signing the Emancipation Proclamation, which made slavery illegal in the Confederate States. After the Battle of Gettysburg, he addressed the crowd with one of the most famous speeches in American history. The name of the speech was the Gettysburg Address. In that speech, he says, 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. The day after he made that speech, the Bostonian wrote, the world noted at once what he said and will never cease to remember it. The battle itself was less important than the speech, and we have truly remembered what Abe said that day. President Lincoln was an amazing American and an amazing human being. He showed the world what it meant to be an American. Andrew Carnegie, yet another man who flourished in what we call the American dream, and an example of how in America, if you work to your full potential and strive to do your best, you can accomplish or do anything you put your mind to. Carnegie himself was born in Scotland in a very poor family. In 1848, the Carnegies moved to Pennsylvania to try to make a better life for themselves. At the age of 13, Andrew got a first job in a factory. He worked 12 hours a day and 6 days a week. He made $1.50 a week. His second job was in the telegraph business. From there, he worked his way up. He started to invest in real estate and other things. After the Civil War, he devoted almost all of his time to the iron trade. Eventually, he started his own company. And then, he became one of the richest men in America. Carnegie was not just a rich man, but a giving one. He was one of the most notable philanthropists in history. He gave nearly all his money away to build libraries, schools, and other public attractions. Carnegie showed us how, in America, no matter where you're from, how you start, you can always make it to the top. And that's about as American as it gets. Today, the American dream lives on through us, and will always. As President Lincoln said a long time ago, government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.